the final, and probably the biggest point for me of this podcast is the new Roadhouse film. Fuck. I actually have to consult my phone for this because I wrote down so many goddamn notes. I couldn't keep them all in my head. Yeah, it's not the greatest experience. I just want to start off with this little clip by saying, don't fucking watch this movie. If you are curious about Roadhouse, watch the original. Much better. So, one thing I do want to say about the original film is that I'm a decent fan of the original Roadhouse. It's definitely not perfect. It's got its flaws, especially with the ending. Como se dice? But if you like the 80s vibe, Roadhouse delivers on that plentifully. And I feel like the characters there have some really decent writing and decent backstory behind them. Unlike this film. So, where do I start? Well, one thing I do want to say, a small point, is that I have never seen so much CGI be implemented into a fist fight. Never seen it. They had the first fighter, the first warrior in that fight, in the movie, is Post Malone.
The first what?
The first fighter in Roadhouse is Post Malone.
Why?
I don't know. It's meant to be a joke, I guess. Which Roadhouse is not, but it's okay. We're going in a different direction. And the thing is, with Post Malone, it was as if his face was deep faked onto another body. It's how bad this shit looked. And when he was throwing a punch, you could tell how badly the CGI was for his punches. So I don't know what the fuck they were thinking when putting CGI in a fucking fight, but a fist fight, but that's what they did. They weren't doing triple somersaults either. They were just throwing punches. It was like a bar brawl. That's it. So I just want to start off with saying that this movie did not start well. Now, this movie has a couple decent, okay pros. First of all, I like the casting of Jake Gyllenhaal. I love Jake Gyllenhaal. He's badass. He does some great roles. That being said, this is easily his worst performance ever in a film. Easy. I don't think
he did it for the money.
Easy. No, I agree with you. He 100% did it for the money. He 100% read the script and thought this was dog water, but he did it for the money. All right? Now, one thing I want to mention is that his performance is phoned in, but I do not blame him. I blame the direction. You know why? Because every single fucking actor in this movie was atrocious. Every single one of them, their lines were forced, bland, and you know damn well they didn't do more than one take for each scene, besides the fights. That's it. Okay? And let me tell you something also. The script for this is some of the most insulting shit I've ever seen in my life. It's ridiculous. One way I want to start this video off is talking about the ending. Let's just start with the ending. The ending to this film is completely insulting, and I'll tell you why. Because the original main character, Dalton... Now, I hate to draw comparisons, but you're calling it the same name, so I will draw comparisons. Fuck you. Tony Dalton, the original character, did all of this crazy fighting, did all of this did all of this violence, even though he didn't want to, because the people that he was feuding against killed his best friend. See, the whole point of Tony Dalton's character is that, he fights, but he doesn't like guns. He doesn't like to kill because there's a monster within him, that he doesn't want to kill people. But when those people killed his best friend, that's when he went angry. That's when he went full fucking burst and he ripped the guy's throat out. He got guns and killed a bunch of people. But then at the end, he learned to forgive. You know what I mean? Like that kind of storyline. So at least there was an arc. And then at the end of the movie, he settled down with a woman that he really liked throughout the film. Fair. Decent story, hero plot. You know what I mean? Not too deep, but definitely not bad. You know what I mean? It's just okay. You know what I mean? It wasn't really about that. It was the 80s vibe. It was the crazy action scenes. It was the actors for one. And it was pure. You felt that. In this movie, Jake Gyllenhaal is playing Tony Dalton. And Tony Dalton is not somebody who is afraid of his monsters. He welcomes them. Okay? Tony Dalton doesn't get mad because como se dice, because somebody was killed. He gets mad because there were thugs that burned a place down that didn't even kill the occupants within. The people that were within, he knew them personally, and so they were injured and they were taken to the hospital. And Tony Dalton says, fuck it, and goes on a fucking massive murdering spree, killing all of these thugs, which, by the way, the thugs, they don't look like criminals. They're not, what I thought was that they would all be, like, tatted up, they'd look like ex-cons. Nah, they look like somebody fresh off the Hollywood assembly line. Clean-cut, boyish-looking motherfuckers. Not a single one of them looks like a criminal. While Roadhouse did not have that problem. They had one comic relief character who wasn't supposed to look like a criminal, just like this new one. But the old one had a bunch of guys who were big, buff, muscly motherfuckers who looked like they did harm and they did time. You know what I'm saying? So, This movie did not have that. It did not have that aura. At the end of the film, he doesn't learn to forgive. He just continues to kill. He kills everybody. And then once they're all dead, he doesn't settle down with his love interest. He doesn't stick around the people that he killed for. He says, all right, well, I'm done here. Bye. And he leaves. That's it. He killed all those people because he was pissed off that they hurt somebody that he liked and then decided to leave.
Wow.
Yeah. So there is no resolution to his demons because he never chose not to kill. He just killed and moved on.
Wow.
You had the script right there. You had the original ideas, the original formula right there. And you literally only used about 5% of it. I understand that you want to do new things with the IP. But if those new things suck this badly compared to the original, you should have just made a shot-for-shot remake. The bar setting in this film, Roadhouse is basically meant to be the main character, Tony Dalton, is hired to protect a bar, all right, that has a lot of hoodlums in it. You know what I mean? So Tony Dalton comes to this Roadhouse, and this Roadhouse, which is the bar, is so fucking boring compared to the original, okay? The setting is so fucking boring compared to the original. I remember this one scene where the boss was talking about, oh, look how beautiful these beaches are. And then they show the beaches. My brother in Christ, it was pitch black with no people there, and they expected us to be in awe. The fuck? This is the Keys of Florida we're talking about. And you guys couldn't even shoot a scene where it was daylight and there were people on the beach? What the fuck? So yeah, this was a worse setting. And one thing I also want to say about Tony Dalton in the new Roadhouse film, he's a piece of shit. And let me tell you exactly why he's a piece of shit. Because Tony Dalton is a very skilled fighter. In the first one, he had like fucking dojo karate, I'm not sure. In the new one, he's a UFC fighter, so he's skilled, right? And he whoops guys' asses with ease. You know, he does all that shallow power trip shit. He never earns it. But okay, whatever. The thing is that in the original film, Tony Dalton would always step into bar fights that other security guards were handling if the people that they were handling were armed. If they pulled out a pocket knife, Tony would get involved. Like, hey, all right, this is serious now. I get in it. You know what I mean? Because he's trying to teach the other security guards how to guard, basically. But when somebody pulls out a knife, Tony gets involved. Meanwhile, in the new film, Jake Gyllenhaal's Tony sees that there's a guy with a knife under his shirt and then tells the guy, okay, that guy has a knife under his shirt. You're going to go up to him. You're going to back. When he pulls out the knife, you're going to back up and punch him in the face. And it works. But why the fuck would you send somebody who doesn't know how to fucking disarm somebody with a knife into a fight, into a fucking fight with somebody who has a knife? Why? He's a young kid too. He was going to send him to his fucking death because this is a dumb movie. It tend to work out. But the original Tony Dalton would have never have done that. So, what you're telling me is that our main protagonist is a piece of shit who doesn't care about other people and just literally only lives to be mildly entertained by other people suffering. That's what I'm seeing here. At near the end of the movie, when he's fighting a bunch of villains, he's having fun, he's having a laugh. None of this is serious for him. The only good thing, and I say good as in generous, being generous, is Conor McGregor. I know. Conor fucking McGregor was good for the first 2 scenes. That's it.
That's crazy.
This film is dark. And I'm not saying dark as in the subject matter. I'm saying that in the Florida Keys, in the middle of the day, brother, the opacity is at 50%. Brother, that shit is dark as fuck. You ever see a movie that's dark as fuck for no reason? That's what this movie was. Dark as fuck in a setting that is meant to be bright as possible. I have no fucking idea how this became such a shit project and it had money behind it. Big money behind it. I think that this movie is an insult to the original Roadhouse. I also think it's an insult to people's free fucking time. Do not watch this movie. It is not a fun action movie that you can turn your brain off to. It is a boring slog. It's not worth your time. It is not a so bad it's good film. It is literally slop. The gum at the bottom of your shoe. If you want a good Roadhouse film, watch the original. Unless you don't like the 80s. If you don't like the smell of the 80s, that's fine. You don't have to watch it. But if you like the 80s vibe, go for Roadhouse, the original. Patrick Swayze is way more convincing than Jake Gyllenhaal was in this film. And once again, I don't blame Jake Gyllenhaal. I blame the direction.
Well,
I mean, is there anything else that I have for this fucking piece of shit? I don't know. I can't believe I sat down and watched it. I tell you that. Jesus.
I'm surprised you chose to watch it.
Yeah, me too. The only reason why I watched it was for the podcast. You fuckers. Yeah. That's it.
He took one for the team, guys.
I really did. There are some horrendous dialogue options in this one. It is so fucking stupid. The protagonist is fighting for his life and he's cracking dumb jokes that aren't even funny. It's ridiculous. Instead of him being angry and like out for blood, you know, when those people get hurt in the store, instead he's cracking jokes and being a wise ass. Listen, Patrick Swayze was using jokes and being a wise ass until his best friend got killed. Once his best friend got killed, everything switched up because that's how it's supposed to work. You know what they should have done? The thing is, right, is that if they wanted us to hate the thugs like Jake Gyllenhaal supposedly does, because I'm not calling him Tony Dalton, because he's not Tony. You know what they should have done is that they should have shown us the thugs hurting the people that Tony cared about. It was a kid and her father. They should have shown, because what the thugs were doing is that they had a gas can and a lighter, and they were going to go and burn the little bookshop that they own. And they were in it. They should have shown us them getting in, like, I don't know, maybe beat the hell out of the daughter and the dad and then throw them out and then burn the building or something like that. They should have shown us how bad it was so we can say, no, fuck these guys. Jake, go fuck them up. Like they did in the original Roadhouse. When Sam Elliott, I think that's his name, got killed by the thugs and then they showed his fucking body. You know what I mean? That was fucking impactful. It's like, no, we got to go back in and kill those sons of bitches, right? Here, they don't show that. They just show the police that show up and say, oh, yeah, it was arson. They're in the hospital. They're fine. And that's it. Nothing else. This movie doesn't even have the balls to show you something like that. But they'll show a man get eaten alive by an alligator. Yeah, that's not graphic at all. Listen, I know I understand that I'm kind of all over the place with this film, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm just spitting shit for people who have already seen it. If you have not seen this movie, do not waste your time. I love Jake Gyllenhaal as much as the next guy. Jake Gyllenhaal phoned it in. And I don't blame him because this script is horrendous. He did it for the money, and I don't even blame him. Good for him. I'm glad he got paid. Fuck this new Roadhouse movie. And that's pretty much all I have to say about here. Dalton and his love interest in this film, the new Dalton, no chemistry. No chemistry. None of the actors play off each other well. Everything is phoned in, generic, and flat. And unlike Roadhouse, which had cool side characters, the old one, the new one is painfully lacking of any decent side characters. Conor McGregor was literally the only decent thing about this film, and he was good in the first 2 scenes. So maybe 2 minutes worth of this 2-hour fucking film is worth your time. In other words, look up the scenes on YouTube. Do not purchase a Prime membership for this. Do not watch this film. Not worth your time. It definitely wasn't worth mine. I put down a 3 out of 10 because I just watched the film here. But now that I've talked about it, it's a 2. A 2 out of 10. Don't waste your fucking time with this piece of garbage. Watch the original Roadhouse instead. Or literally any other action film. That's it. That's all I have. Fuck Roadhouse.